Ready? Okay, guys. Today begins the 101 mistakes that humans make to mess up their dogs. The next 101 days, I'm sure there will be some days I have to skip, but basically the next 101 days, we are going to be going over the biggest mistakes that owners make to mess up their dog. The problem with dog training is there are a lot of things you can do. Teaching sit, teaching down, teaching stay, teaching come, but it's actually the mistakes that you make. It's the mistakes that you make that matter the most. So there's a saying that I love. It's called perfect practice makes perfect. Okay, I'll say it again. Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. If you're practicing incorrectly or if you're making certain mistakes with your dog, you will never achieve the dog you want. You will never achieve perfect obedience with a willing, motivated dog. So I'm going to try to start from the beginning in the order of what I think the most important things are, the most important mistakes that people make. And the number one thing, it kind of ties into a number of other things, but I'm just going to talk about what the mistake is. And the mistake is when you first get a dog, whether it's an older dog, a younger dog, a puppy, a rescue, a purebred dog, I don't care what it is. A dog with behavioral issues, a dog that's pretty perfect, I don't care. But the biggest mistake people make to mess up their dogs is feeding from a bowl. Feeding from a bowl. I'm not shaking, my dog's shaking. She's breathing and it's making me go like this, but that's okay.
You hot? She's hot because she's in South Carolina.
Happy 4th of July, by the way. So the biggest mistake is feeding from a bowl. Let's talk about what I mean by that. I'm not only going to give you the mistakes, people, but I am going to tell you the secret, the biggest secret on how to fix that mistake. So, what is feeding from a bowl? Feeding from a bowl is I put my dog's food in the bowl and I put it down. Biggest mistake. What you can try is pick up the bowl, wash it, and put it away. That's right. No food bowl. For at least 8 weeks, okay? Hear me out. I know everybody's asking why and what could I possibly mean by, this camera's not focusing very well because Splitty's over here. Feeding from a bowl. So instead of feeding from a bowl, what you're going to do is you're going to measure out your dog's food in the morning and put it in a baggie or a treat pouch or in your pockets, okay? And you're simply going to wait. You're going to wait for your dog to become hungry. You're going to wait for your dog to realize there's no food bowl. And basically, if he's not coming over, and he has a nose, you guys. Your dogs have a nose. So if your dog is not coming over to you and sniffing your pockets and asking you, like, where's my food? Then he's not motivated. And he's not motivated. And what we all do is we feed our dogs. We feed them out of a bowl. Maybe we have a huge bowl of food that's laying there all day long. Biggest mistake. Free feeding is the biggest mistake, but that's a different mistake. I'm talking about feeding from a bowl while your dog is in training for the first, 8 weeks you have the dog to the first year. I didn't feed lickety split, and go check out my TikTok, go check out the tricks she does, go check out, the kind of training she does and the things she's capable of, because she's a motivated dog. And I used that food in the beginning to create bond and motivation. So the first thing you do is you pick up the food bowl, you wash it, and you put it away, and you put those treats and your dog's daily food in a treat pouch so you know your dog's getting enough. You can feed them their whole daily ration, but it's going to come from where? From your hand. Your new food bowl is your hand. And the new relationship is your dog needs to come and tell you, hey, I'm hungry. Where's my food? And if the next thing you say is, well, how does he tell me? That's what you're missing. You don't have that bond and connection of when your dog is saying, I'm ready to train, right? Without that desperate motivation of like, I want what you have. Your dog has to want what you have, and then you can start communicating, right? So the biggest mistake is feeding from a bowl. Even if it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks, try it, put your bowl away, and watch your dog's motivation change. Yes, I know you're all saying, but is it about food? Am I going to have to do this forever? If you're saying those things, you're never going to have a good dog. The answer, though, is no, you won't have to do it forever. It's a limited amount of time that you're going to have to do this, and it depends on the level of training you want to achieve and the level of motivation. For example, some dogs have an amazing toy drive. So, I know a lot of people who say, well, I don't want to use food, I want to use the toy. But the toy activates a different part of the brain than food. Toy activates, like a predator-prey chase, play, and it's a very drivey side of the brain. And food activates a more thoughtful side of the brain when they're eating, and they can learn and be calm and really take in what they're doing. So if you set up your food, especially for you people who say my dog's not into food, I am telling you, when the bowl goes away and you put the food in your pocket, do not try to feed your dog. Let him come to you and say, I'm hungry, Mom, Dad. Every dog will be hungry and every dog will be food motivated if you take away the bowl and put the food in your pouch. Okay? So I'm not going to talk about the games yet. We're going to go over huge training things, tips, and advice, and the 101 biggest mistakes humans make to mess up your dog, and this is number one. Creating motivation. My camera keeps focusing on you because you're cute. You probably would rather look at her than me, and that's fine. This is Lickety Split, by the way. She's going to be in a lot of our demo videos, a lot of our full-length tutorials. And this channel is dedicated to those 101 mistakes humans make to mess up their dogs. And then I'm going to also go over the secrets that fix those mistakes. Okay, I've been a trainer for 30 years and had amazing mentors and all of that stuff. And I will post some bio somewhere that you can see. My websites are dinazafiris.com. And also my online training program is Inspired by Dogs with Dina. InspiredByDogsWithDina.com. That's Inspired by Dogs with an S with Dina.com. And that's my online training program. But here on this YouTube channel, you're going to get free, absolutely free training. Sometimes I'm going to sit and talk and it might be boring to you, but if you don't understand the philosophies behind motivation, you will never have a trained dog. The reason dogs pull on the leash, don't come when called, jump, bark, dig holes, they don't have motivation to learn and to do what you want them to do. In order for a dog to learn and do what you want them to do, two things must happen. Number one is motivation and training, positive reinforcement. Number two is proofing. Once the dog knows what he's doing, how do we correct that behavior when the dog doesn't do what you ask, right? After the dog knows what they're doing and chooses not to do it, how do you proof that dog? And that is where correction comes in. So the beginning of training has no place for correction, no time for correction. Whether you're a positive trainer only or a balanced trainer, it doesn't matter. The first things are first, and you need to create motivation and use food for training, and then cross over, or food/toys for training, and then cross over to maybe just toys, and then you have your proofing. So there's 3 phases in training. In phase 1, everybody always asks me, am I going to have to do this forever? Am I going to have to carry treats around forever? Get that out of your head, okay? If somebody asked you to go to work, but we're not going to pay you anymore. Or how about we pay you for 3 years, and on the 4th year of your job, when you're getting really good at it, we're going to stop paying you. It's not how life works. It's not that you need a treat in your hand forever, okay? Because luring and bribing and all of that stuff is fine and necessary in the beginning. But the lure, which is what most people call a bribe, we have the food in our hand and we're leading our dog around by the cookie. That needs to take place to show the dog positions and show the dog what you want, okay? And somewhere in phase 2, we can put the treat in our pocket or on a table, and we can ask for these behaviors without the food in our hand, okay? And then phase 3 is, again, that proofing phase where we know the dog knows what they're doing. We know the dog knows how to do a sit or a come or whatever. We know it, we've tested it, and there are ways to do that, which we'll go over in a different video. So once proofing comes around, you have to decide, what am I gonna do when my dog chooses not to come, sit, down, leave it? What are you gonna do? Get out the bag of cookies and try to use a treat to fix it? You can't do that because that would be reinforcement. So I find there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. We have to stand up to kind of the what's happening on social media. I'm 52 years old, so a lot of positive reinforcement only trainers, it's a really great idea, but the problem with it is it's not going to work. You can't be a positive only trainer and get to the proofing phase. You've obviously never done dog sports or search and rescue or police canine work, but it's also why you don't have a good pet dog. A lot of people I see, big trainers that are out there, have problem dogs because they're scared to get to the proofing. So I want you guys to know that's coming. And the reason I touch on that in this video about hand feeding is we are going to be 100% positive reinforcement in the beginning, okay? We are. And even in phase 2 of training, we are. But in phase 3, when proofing comes about, that's when you can start to think about, like, am I gonna have to have food in my hand? No, but it might be on the table, it might be in your pocket, it might come intermittently, it might come one day I use treats, one day I don't. So, and we're gonna talk about reinforcement and all of that stuff. But in the very beginning, guys, I wanna get back to hand feeding only, okay? So the bowl is washed, you put the bowl away, you measure your dog's 2 cups of dry kibble, whatever you want. You can put treats in it. I don't care how much you feed your dog, you can feed your dog triple during this exercise. But it comes from your pocket and it comes from your hand. Do you do training? Sure you do training. We're gonna go over all the games that you can do for your hand feeding. But the first phase, if you've got the food in your pocket, it's 6 a.m., you just woke up, assuming you wake up at 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m., you just woke up. Biddy, you're gonna have to be even with me so the camera doesn't focus on you, although I would so much rather see you than me. She's like, do I have to sit here, Mom? Can't I go swim? Go swim? Oh, you do? No, you have to sit here with Mommy. You have to sit here with Mommy. Okay, so you stay. So the basis of this whole thing is motivation. Why hand feed? It increases motivation, it increases bond. It increases your dog's ability to want to connect with you. Motivation is everything in dog training. Motivation means the dog wants to do it. The dog can't wait. And then communication can start. It's not just you taking your dog away from something. To train, training is everything. That's how I eat. When I sit down, stay, come, heel, that's how I eat. That's how I earn my food. You've heard nothing in life is free. Well, same for a dog, right? If they get a huge bowl of food, why should they sit down, stay, come, and heel when they don't even know it, right? So we're creating that motivation to lay the proper foundation for sit down, stay, come, heel, leave it, no, tricks, agility, search and rescue, barn hunt, whatever it is you want to do, training service dogs. So that's the biggest mistake, bowl feeding. Every single person, right? I don't care who your dog is, how well trained he is, try the bowl feeding, try the hand feeding, put the bowl away, I should say. And even if all you do is just make a bowl, put the food in your palm and let your dog eat. You do not have to train your dog in the first phases. You have this relationship. The dog walks up to you. He's like, dude, where's my food bowl? And you're like, dude, it's in my pocket. And the dog's like, well, dude, how do I get it? And then you can start talking. If your dog knows sit or whatever, do a sit, give him some food, okay? People say they don't have time. They don't have time to hand feed. Do you know how long it takes a dog to eat a cup of food? Like this? A motivated dog? Here's my dog. Here's the food in my pocket. I'm gonna get the whole cup of food, put it in my hand, lower it down to my dog. Do you know how long it takes a motivated dog to eat a cup of food? 30 seconds. If you don't have time to do hand feeding, you probably don't have time to have a dog. It's the simplest, most basic thing, but people don't know. Look how pretty you are. You should stay right there for the whole video. More people would watch. So the idea is, I want to go slow. I don't want to give you everything in this video, but tomorrow, we're going to learn the name game. Okay? Tomorrow we're going to learn the name game. So, tomorrow involves another huge mistake, okay? And it also involves a secret. And the benefit of watching tomorrow's video is that we're going to go over the mistake, but you're also going to learn the first game you're going to play with your hand feeding. And you're also going to learn one of the biggest secrets of all. in dog training. One of the biggest secrets, I have this on cinematic mode, so whatever's closer, it's gonna focus on. Woo. So, guys, you can check me out, Dina Zafiris. Google my name. On my YouTube channel, I have put my TV appearances from years and years ago. I worked with some of the top people in the world, in the dog training world. I've been a trainer for over 30 years. I was the first one to do cancer sniffing dogs, to train cancer sniffing dogs, and we were published in 2 medical journals, which spawned a series of studies on cancer sniffing and COVID sniffing dogs. I've been around the block. I'm not saying it to brag. I've done a zillion things with dogs. That's why I'd rather have you go check me out online. And if you want to see tricks and like performance stuff, go to my TikTok. It's all under Dina Zafiris. And this channel, my YouTube channel, is going to be, this camera's driving me nuts. Maybe if I go like, I don't know what to do with it. Okay. But this channel is going to be focused on the mistakes and the secrets, and also full-length tutorials. So we have a lot of time to put a lot of really in-depth videos on here. What you see? And, okay, break. You wanna go see? Wanna go see? Yes. Break. Break. I'll let her go. It's really hot here. I'm in South Carolina and it's muggy. Okay. So, if you're on the page with me, you're gonna commit to your hand feeding. You're gonna have a lot better time. In fact, I don't even believe, here's a couple of other analogies for you. Your dog does not know that you go to work, you make money, then you go to Petco, then you have to park. And you maybe have to, if you live in LA, you have to drive through traffic and get to Petco and work. Then you have to drive through traffic. You buy the dog food. You pick up that bag of dog food, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever it is. I hate it. Then you schlep back to the car. Then you drive all the way through traffic home. And then you schlep the bag in the house. Then you cut the bag open. Then you pour it in one of those plastic things you see on it. And your dog's like, oh, my food, my food. And then you put the scoop of food in a bowl and you put the bowl on the ground. Your dog does not realize you went out and hunted for him. You went out and worked, killed that meat, brought it home like a mother wolf would bring food home for her puppies, right? Your dog just knows, dude, food hits the bowl. Food hits the bowl, dude. Right? So if food hits the bowl for free, he doesn't realize how hard you have worked. How hard you have worked your whole life to put that food in the bowl. So hand feeding causes a bond between you and your dog where the dog finally understands food comes from you. You are the provider of his food. He smells your hand as he's eating his food. There's a lot of associations going on here. Classical conditioning, then we can use operant conditioning, but even the dog, even if all you do is feed him from your hand, his meals, and you have a completely untrained dog, you're gonna have a much more attentive, motivated dog. So when you, even if you didn't train him, if you go, woo, see, my dog knows, like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. When mama whistles, it's probably my food or something super fun. By the way, she was hand fed for a whole year. I didn't feed her out of a bowl for an entire year because I wanted her super, super good trained. I wanted to do tricks. I wanted to do agility. I wanted to be able to use food. And if I didn't have time, I just put out my hand like this and she gobbled her food down 30 seconds. I don't care if you feed your dog more. You just got to do it. And you will notice the responsivity. Can't speak. And everything stems from there. Okay, so no, you don't have to hand feed forever. Yes, the bowl can go back down. No, you may never free feed. If you have food in a bowl just hanging out, that's a no never for me. That's another mistake. I just gave it away. But you will be able to go back to a normal ritual, normal routine, and then just use higher value rewards for your training, blah, blah, blah. Do you have to have food out forever? No, but it never goes away. Reward never goes away. The lure and the bribe can go away, but the reward can never go away. Okay, so that's what you should be looking at first. And your dog should absolutely, in the proofing phase, be able to listen with no food present, no food in your hand. 100% dog, right? But if the reward went away forever, your dog would also stop performing. He would also stop working, much like you would if your boss said, and now we're not going to pay you anymore. Okay? Learning takes place when one is motivated to learn. Motivation is everything. It's everything. I have 2 Facebook pages. One is the Motivated Dog, and one is, I think, called Inspired by Dogs. And then I have my Dina Zafiris page, and then I have my Dina Zafiris TikTok, and then I have my Dina Zafiris YouTube. I'm not that much into Instagram. I don't know. I just never put the time in. And one time I used a song, and they took my video off, and they've hated me ever since. So, social media for me, I don't spend a lot of time scrolling. I spend a lot of time posting or making videos. So please don't get upset if I don't respond to a comment or whatever. It's super humid, and my hair is just decided it's going to stick to my head and drive me nuts. But if you really want to get in touch with me, send me an email, dinadog@mac.com, dinadog@mac.com. I will respond to my emails. It's hard to see because I get a huge amount of questions in my comments, and also direct messages and stuff. But so it's really hard to go through them all. Like, I'll spend an hour answering one, and then there's 80 more questions. So it's super hard. So these mistakes that I'm going to give you here on this channel is going to guide you for your training life with your dog, for your whole life with your dog. It's a guide. And that's about it. So start your hand feeding today. Hand feeding only, okay? Hand feeding only. No bowl. You wash the food bowl and you put it away. Forever, right now. Forever, okay? And I say the test of when to put the food bowl back down is when you have a perfect dog. Meaning a really amazing, the dog is like on fire. You've gone through your proofing phase, right? So I like to say hand feed for the first year of life, but people get overwhelmed. So don't get overwhelmed, but you need to at least spend 8 to 12 weeks trying it and watch the difference in how attentive your dog is. That is the beginning of a correct bond. It's not about food. It's about the dog going, oh, you provide you're the one. The food comes from you. Like the mother's milk came from the mother, and then the mother has to wean the babies, right? That's, in essence, maybe why we love our mothers. It's like the food came from them. It came from them. It was our life sustenance, right? Okay, think about it. Tomorrow, mistake number 2. Mistake number 2. And then I think in a separate video, we're going to learn the secret. So I'm going to do it in 2 different videos. Also, if you're watching, go back and watch the posts I already put up. My YouTube channel is new, but I had some old YouTube stuff like my TV work and stuff. You can check that out in my playlists. It'll say Dina's television appearances. And I'm obviously a lot younger in the video, so please, no harsh comments. And you know what? If you guys disagree with stuff, I know you can put comments here. And like I said, I don't see a lot of stuff, but I appreciate them, especially the positive ones. And it's like, we need to, for me, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We have to stop being so polarized. Like, the positive reinforcement only people think that the balance trainers are evil, and the balance trainers think the positive reinforcement trainers are complete idiots. What I'm saying is, we got to stop polarizing each other and listen a bit more, and try to learn, try to listen, try to be open-minded, right? What's happening right now on social media is extreme polarization, and it's just really bringing people apart, and we will never get along. We can't hate everybody that has a dog because they do it a little bit differently, and I believe we can learn something. If somebody has something that's working and an amazingly happy dog, you need to look at that. That's why I'm urging you to go to my TikTok and watch my dog. I mean, she's amazing, and I've had many, many amazing dogs. I mean, I think I've had 53 dogs, but amazingly trained dogs, and done with, I like to say done with positive reinforcement only. I mean, it's very, very slight. During the proofing phase, some dogs I haven't even had to correct, but there definitely have been dogs that can't handle positive only. They'd end up, with me, they wouldn't end up in a shelter, but with other people, if I don't give them the tools, they're going to get rid of their dog because they don't have any tools to proof their dog when he decides not to listen. Okay. Step 1. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Splitty, want to say bye? Splitty, chin.
Oh.
Kiss. Kisses.